Data is at the core of every modern business's performance. So, when data loss happens, your business stops. Using Active Backup for Office 365 and Active Backup for G Suite, you can even back up files, mail, and contacts from the cloud. If something is accidentally deleted, employees can go back in time and recover files themselves without IT admin's help. Because the Active Backup Suite comes free with Synology NAS, you can back up as many devices as needed without additional license fees. And with Synology's various hardware options, from 1 terabyte to thousands, you can start small and scale up storage capacity as your business evolves. Active Backup Suite. Centralized data protection made easy.
All right. With that, over to you, Matt.
Thanks a lot, Amit. I hope everyone can hear me and you see my screen.
Yeah, we can hear you and see your screen.
Awesome. So then, welcome to Embed Everything, Combine All Power Platform Features. I'm Mats. I'm really thrilled to be here. So first of all, thanks a lot, Amit, for the session moderation and all the organizers and the sponsors for bringing this one up. What I especially like about the M365 Chicago, it's actually what I put here on the next slide. If you haven't checked it out, the donation they set up, go check out the link, put something in there. I think it's really great that we have all of us coming from tech background, that we have this donation thing, Children First Found. Please go check it out. And you saw the video. Also wanted to thanks to all the other sponsors, especially of course to Veeam, but all the other ones which made this event possible. So also go check them out. If you're in the teams, there are team channels for them. So please take a look. Okay. And with that, before we start, a few words from me. I don't know if you can tell from my accent, but I'm from Germany. So greetings from Germany in the evening here. I started with the Dynamics community like 10 years ago with Business Central. Nowadays, 3 years ago, I switched to Dynamics CRM first, which became Power Platform really quickly. And since then, yeah, I'm working as a developer, a consultant. I co-founded a company which is focused on developing ISV solutions for Power Platform. And yeah, I like a lot of stuff at Power Platform. That's why I'm thrilled to be here to talk about what different kinds we have, what we can use. As you can see there, please get connected. I would love to hear from you. So there's my Twitter handle, the blog where I put a lot of content I show here. It's also on the blog there, or let's get connected on LinkedIn. Also during the session, I like that we're a small group. We can make it interactive. So if you have questions, or I should go into more detail into one of those, you can put it in during the sessions. I try to have an eye out for it. If I miss it or if it's better at the end, I plan to have some time at the end for a Q&A. But if you have like important questions, please put them in the chat so that we can go directly to it. Okay, so now let's go take a look. What do we want to do today? So first of all, I want to keep it small, the PowerPoint, but I want to talk a bit about why do I talk about this embedding? What different app types do we have? What kinds of visualizations can we use? Why would we do that? What's the goal behind all this? But I try to keep it short because I want to do demos with you. I want to show you how it works. Obviously, I can't show all of it, so maybe the title was a bit misleading. But I want to show you how you can start it and how you can combine different things. I want to do this as a demo. And then, as I said, at the end, we will have a Q&A. Yeah, but again, please just put it in chat if there's something very immediate I should focus on. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about theory. What different app types do we have in the Power Platform? What types of visualizations do we have? Why do we care? Why should you care when you create solutions for your customers or for yourself? Why should you care about these different things? So let's talk about that. I think this screen probably it's used a lot by Microsoft and a lot of people. It shows you what is the Power Platform basically. So we have all the like the main parts: Power BI, Power Apps, Power Automate, Power Virtual Agents. Built on the awesome Dataverse. We have the AI builder, we have data connectors. So as I said, I'm not going, because I only have 50 minutes, I can't talk about all. I will focus on the Power Apps and Power BI integrations, which then easily can be extended with Power Automate, Power Virtual Agents. We will start today or focus on the Power Apps and Power BI part. This is also a metaphor I really like in image, if you will say, the Lego. A lot of people compare Power Platform to Lego, and I think it's really fitting. So because we have a lot of different building blocks in the Power Platform. As you saw on the screen before, right? You can think about all the different parts as different building blocks. So Microsoft has created a lot of building blocks for us, and it's keep creating a lot of blocks. I think all of you will see that it's hard to keep up sometimes, but it's, I mean, the amazing thing, because a lot of new stuff gets added to the platform basically on a monthly basis. But that's not all. So Microsoft is building a lot of first-party stuff. But then a lot of other people, like the community, is building a lot. There is ISVs who are creating awesome solutions on top of the existing building blocks. You find a lot of blogs, and like at conferences like these, people like to share what they're building. And so the nice thing is that people can extend on these building blocks. They join building blocks together. They build new building blocks, and all that gets shared. And that's the Power Platform. That's the real power of the Power Platform, because this is enabling us to create really cool solutions. It's fun to have like build something with the same kind of building block again and again, but it gets really cool and it gets really useful and it gets really tailored to what your customer needs when you start thinking about, oh, well, what different kinds of building blocks do I have and how can I use them in the system here? So this is something you should, or I hope that you think about a lot, kind of like what building blocks do I have? How can I use them? It's also the analogy, like if you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. It's similar here. If you're really focused on one part, you can solve a lot with that, but there might be other parts of the platform which are actually might make it more easier or might be the better tool for the job here. So today I want to talk about these building blocks, and then in demo I want to show you like the first steps on how you can integrate those building blocks together. Okay, we will start with the different app types, because in my experience, a lot of people when they work with Power Platform, they're focused on one part, like the Canvas app, model-driven app, the portals, PLCs. But it's good, and that's why I wanted to start kind of to get an overview what different parts are there, what are kind of like the different philosophies behind it. Yes, I will start with the model-driven app, because for me, that was my start at the Power Platform. As I said, I came from the Dynamics CRM, so the first-party sales app to be specific, which later then became a model-driven app. And what I liked about the model-driven apps, for me being a bit of the technical background, it always starts with the data. So I can model my data, I have the relationships in there, and then I have a kind of fixed framework, but I can quickly put forms and views on top of my data to get good looking apps. And nowadays, as you can see, even in the default platform, there are a lot of visualizations, different controls I can use to make it easy. So if you have that data and you have the data in your mind, actually as a maker, model-driven apps don't have to be complex. They can be really straightforward. If you have the data, if you think about the relationship, and if that's kind of like the way you approach things. Model-driven is definitely a tool where you can quickly set up a running app and use it productively. The other part is Canvas apps. Canvas apps don't necessarily start with the data, but they more start with the design. So kind of like you think about what should the app look like? What should the UX, the user flow be? What should it be? Because here you have to build everything yourself, which might sound a bit more complex, but on the other hand, you have a lot more opportunity. You have a lot more creativity. I want to show you a few examples. So basically, this is what I got from the internet really quick. And okay, you can see, okay, this was built quickly. It's not that nice looking maybe, but if you've spent some time on the Canvas apps, and I've seen amazing examples in the community, you can build like really beautiful looking apps. And this is something you could never do with the model-driven apps. So this is where Canvas apps has a really huge strength. It's going into the design, the creativity you can put in there, and also like customize it directly to what the app should be doing. For example, I like this example. You can really strip it down, make it as minimal as you need it, because you don't need all the unnecessary clutter around it. If you just want to have a sign-up sheet, why don't it build like this? It looks a lot more appealing to your end users, and it's a lot more easy because there are not some buttons you can click by mistake or go there. Here, another example of this. So again, Canvas apps, it's a bit like PowerPoint. We will build a Power Canvas app today also. Also definitely something makers can start. A really great thing happening to the Power Platform, I think it got generally available about a year ago, is the Power Apps control framework. Basically small, or sometimes they're a bit bigger, but controls you can add to either Power model-driven apps or Canvas apps for specific things. You see there are maps in there, or the two option icons up here. You have a Bing address autocomplete. And there's a lot in there. Some are already delivered by Microsoft to you. But for example, this is a great example of the community, pcf.gallery, where people upload controls they build themselves so you can use them. And if you just want to use them, it's usually pretty easy. You import them in your environment, and then you can start using it either in Canvas app or model-driven app. If you want to create them yourself, that's probably where I would say it's not really a maker kind of persona who builds them, but a developer, because you have to know JavaScript and some of those stuff. So for example, I have never built one, but I'm using them all the time. And I think it's really great because it easily enhances my apps I built. So this is one of those you should definitely check out if you want to make your app more pop and kind of like bring something in there. And usually it's also helping a lot with it's not just good looking, but it's helping with what do you want to achieve actually. Okay, I have Power BI in here. We had a great session before here, Power BI. I liked it a lot. Definitely Power BI, you should always think about how you represent data. So I coming from the consultant's perspective, I remember my first boss always told me, well, we don't sell apps by showing them how to enter data. We have to show them what awesome reports they create by putting the data in there. So reports sell the thing. The app is kind of like, that's an afterthought. That's kind of like stuck with me because actually with the report, you can do a lot, especially when you work with data, visualize it in a great way. Okay, so I've shown you different parts. Obviously, there are still more. I haven't talked about portals, for example. I wanted to keep it on, I don't want to make it too broad, but I want to talk about how can we combine these things I just showed you. And here I stole a claim from Microsoft, a platform for every type of maker. And I think that's something which is getting more and more true. Microsoft's adding a lot of stuff for different personas, like the citizen developer, the maker developer, or app wizards, or like that name, like really pro types of developer who also bring a lot of Azure in, for example. But therefore, no matter who you are, kind of what persona, what your background is, there is stuff which you can use. And that's the great thing about this platform. So let's start with a citizen developer. And so building Power BI dashboards and model-driven app, that's a really easy thing. You can customize it yourself. I will show you today how we can embed Canvas apps, which can also be done by a maker. So it doesn't have to be a developer to embed a Canvas app into a model-driven app. Then kind of like in the middle, we have, at the moment, iframe Canvas apps, kind of like to embed Canvas apps on a different way. I will go into detail there. We have the PCF gallery I was showing you about or talking about. Definitely check that one out. We can embed Power BI on forms, which does have to, you have to do a little bit of development, but not that much. And if you're a pro dev, well, we have custom JavaScripts. We have the control framework you can use. Okay, let's check out some examples. First, I want to start with embedded Canvas apps, because I feel like there's a lot of potential. So what we see here is a model-driven app. Actually, the screenshot is a bit older, but here we have a model-driven app, and we are looking at one record, the AdventureWorks company, the account. And on this model-driven app, actually here we have a Canvas app embedded. So it's on the model-driven app. The model-driven app is all doing all the navigation. I have the save button, delete button, all that stuff there. And the Canvas app is just used for one part of the screen and to highlight a specific thing. In this case, it should create, I wanted to have a contacts, not just as a list, but with the actual pictures, which is not something I can do natively in model-driven apps. So I have to do it this way. The great thing here, we have a native support for it. So it's supported by Microsoft. You can do it directly in the form editor. You don't have to do manual changes in some XML files and that kind of stuff. It is supported in solutions. So if you want to move it from your dev to your test to your prod environment, you can just use solutions for that, which is a great thing. As soon as you talk about application lifecycle management, this is something you have to take care of. And it's fully supported at this point. You can create new Canvas apps, or you can reuse existing ones. And the Canvas app actually runs in the context of the record, which is shown here. So the Canvas app here knows it's running for AdventureWorks, which we need to display the correct contacts on it, which is, of course, for a lot of these cases, really necessary. What's the huge advantage? So you can create a small Canvas app where you only focus on a specific use case. In this case, displaying the contacts of that account. And you don't have to think about all the other stuff like navigation, how do I save stuff? You just focus on the one thing you want to achieve and how should it look like on the form here. Okay. Another case, I will go through this quickly. I will tell you why. So another one we often use in our projects is actually having a model-driven app again. And I want to have the Canvas app, but I want to have the Canvas app here as a full screen app, and I want to have it in the navigation. This is doable. We can use as a web resource. and you have to do a bit of HTML, JavaScript, also supported. And why am I saying it's old? Because when I put in this talk, I think Microsoft Business Application Summit was the right corner. And at Microsoft at Business Application Corner, Microsoft actually was showing something which they've promised for a long time, and which is basically the same stuff natively in the platform. So what we see here in this GIF is we see a model-driven app, so the standard model-driven app. But now on the left-hand side, clicking on the menu, and we have the Canvas app directly embedded in the model-driven app. And Microsoft is actually adding a way to do that with no code customizations at all. So we have a no-code way of doing this. The same way we can embed the Canvas app on a form, we can now embed it here in the menu. I think they want to start the preview pretty soon. I haven't seen it out in the wild, but now keep an eye on that. Custom pages, that's the way Microsoft wants kind of like to break down the barriers between the different app types to have it all in one here where you can do that. I also put the link in here if you want to check out the Microsoft blog post. They're talking a bit about what this will enable, how you can use that. So I can't show you this today. I will quickly show you the old way, not in too much detail, but if you want to use it today, you also have the same capability, but you have to do a bit more of customization. So I won't spend a lot of time on there, but yeah, be really happy for the future because Microsoft is investing in the platform and it's making it more and more easy to integrate all these different app types into one. Yes, and with that, I would say let's start with the demos. No questions until now in the chat. If you have questions, also when I'm doing the demos, please feel free to ask. So what I did here, I'm actually in my development environment. This is in Microsoft Development Tenant I created for myself, and I have my own development instance here. And I actually prepared a bit of stuff already, which I want to show you now in the demo. So I have a solution here for the M365 Chicago. And the main thing we're going to spend time on is this model-driven app. So I have a really simple model-driven app in here. At the moment, it has activities in there, and I have accounts. Model-driven apps always work like, okay, I have the list here, list of data. If I click on a record in that list, I'm actually going to see the detail page. And this is what you get when you just install Power App with no customizations. This is what the account form looks like. So I have a bit of details here, the summary and the timeline. And I wanted to do demos with actual real-life use cases we've done for different projects. And one thing we have heard from a lot of customers was actually this timeline. The timeline has great functionality. I can quickly add new activities here and so on. But if I actually want to read in the timeline what is happening, it might get a bit more complex because if there's more text, I have to expand it here. And also something I never understand, if I actually want to open the phone call here, I have to click this small icon here, which is directly next to delete. So I have to concentrate what to click on. And actually, for a few customers, the request was, yes, can you make like a more visual timeline? Kind of like, I want to have the timeline as a report, which makes it easy to read. And we thought about how to do that. And in the end, we said, well, model-driven apps doesn't really give us a chance to do that. Canvas apps do. Okay, let's build the Canvas app and embed the Canvas app here in this app. Yeah, and this is what I want to do with you. So let's go back to the development backend here. I already added the account. The account is the entity we were just looking at. And I added the account form, the main account form. The main account form, that's the one where I want to embed my Canvas app. Then I don't have a Canvas app, so I want to create it here. Yeah, we are now in the new nice form editor. And what I want to do is I want to add a new column here. Obviously, I could also put the Canvas app to one of the existing columns, but I want to make it a full screen, basically. Activities, and I want to say I want to hide the label. One thing, if you want to embed a Canvas app in a model-driven app, you always have to do, you can't just embed it somewhere, you have to embed it on top of a field. And Microsoft is recommending to use a field which is filled, which is not the name, but the account name. So I usually use kind of like the name field for that. Don't worry, you don't have to do anything with that data. And usually I would recommend to hide the label here. So for now, I'm going to save this one. What we want to do, we see here up on the right-hand side down are components. So at the moment, the field is displayed as the default text field, but we can actually choose different components to add here. And here you see we have the Canvas app as a component I can use. By the way, this is the place if you use Power App, the PCF gallery to get Power Apps control framework controls, you will see them here different times. We could add it here, but actually in the new editor, there are some functionalities missing. So this is why I have to click on the dreaded switch to classic. We have to actually switch to classic for one small step. And I will show it you here. I don't know if you know the old editor. It looks not as nice as the one we just saw, but it still has some functionality which are not in the new editor. Microsoft is working a lot on that. Basically, this is one of the only things nowadays when I develop model-driven apps where I actually have to go back to the old editor. But yeah, sometimes it's necessary. And you see sometimes the loading, sometimes not the most performant thing to do. Let's try this again. Okay, I will talk to you what do I want to do. So basically what I want to do in the editor is I want to choose the field I just added to my new tab. And I want to create or select the Canvas app component. And then I want to tell the system, please create a new Canvas app for that. Actually, oh, now it's loading, great. Because otherwise I would have shown it in the new editor. The only caveat in the new editor is that I can't create a new Canvas app. I can link existing ones, but in the old one, I can actually create a new one. But I'm pretty sure that Microsoft will have that functionality in the new editor at some point. So this is what the old editor looks like. Yeah, I think we all agree the new one is a lot nicer. But if I go down here, I see my new tab, the activities I added. I have again my account name field. And when I go to change properties up here, I have a lot of stuff, but I also have controls. If I click on add controls, I can select the Canvas app again. And I have to say, well, I want to have it in all display types. And you see, now I could put in an app name or an app ID. But I can also click down here on the Customize button. What the Customize button will do, it will open a new Canvas app in a new tab in my browser where I can start customizing right away. So let's do that. See, it's opening a new tab here. It will create a new Canvas app. And again, small loading screen here. Gives some time to drink. And remember, what do we want to build? I want to build a Canvas app where I can display all the different activities in a more visual way, kind of like as a reader where I can just look at that. I will do that with you in multiple steps so that you can see how it's actually built and how you can do that yourself. Yeah, performance, it's not on my side today here. Let's see. I know how it's for you. This actually feels like the first summer day in Germany. It's really hot in here and I'm standing in front of the light. Maybe the internet is also affected by that. But let's give it some time. Maybe while it's loading, I will just show you what it looks like in the new editor. I was talking that you don't have that much. If I select Canvas app here, you see you have the same options. You can put in an app name here. You can put an entity name and an app ID, but you have to fill that all out manually. So that's why I usually don't use this one here in the new editor, but I use the one in the old. Let's see. Not doing a lot yet. What it is doing in the back end, which is taking a bit longer today, is it will create a Canvas app and it will actually pre-fill the app name and the app ID here. So it will link the Canvas app with my field here so that I don't have to do anything manually. Especially copying the ID and the name gets cumbersome at some time. And it will also do one special thing to the Canvas app, because in the Canvas app, we want to communicate. We want to have access to the contacts of the account we're running on. So if I have the Canvas app on this screen, I want to know I'm at the Microsoft record and I want to be able to access all these fields. In order to do so, we need to link the Canvas app, and that will be done in backend. Actually, usually it takes like 20 seconds. Let me abort this one. Yes, it didn't work. And try again. Good luck this time. So creating a new Canvas app, linking it to the form, and actually creating a new control in the Canvas app so that we can access the data. And yay, here we are. first things first. So what the app will actually do, the Canvas app, it will create a little bit in here, like a form. If you're not sure if you want to use that, I would recommend delete it because you're not going to use it. Just start fresh, I'd say. The second thing you should think about is what should the Canvas app, what should the size be? And important thing to know that how the Canvas app is displayed here, like how much place or space the Canvas app will actually use, that is all determined here in the Canvas app. So you can't determine the size here in the model-driven app, but the size is determined by the Canvas app itself. So when we go to settings, we have the new settings screen here. I want to have it on the full screen. I want to have a full tab. So I want to make it a bit more wider than it is at the moment. And yes. And we also want to change the heave to something like 600. It sometimes takes a bit kind of like figuring out what's the correct one here. This is what I use for usually when I go for a full tab one. It actually didn't update it. Let's check again. Why it wasn't doing this. Strange. So it should now be a little bit more wider. Right. Not really applying it. Test it out. I think I'm going crazy. I think maybe the captions are wrong. So, but that's what we want to. We want to have it more wide than heave because that's kind of like how I want to have it here on the tab. So it's more like this rectangular. Okay, so now I can start adding stuff here. And let's start with, I just want to display the name to see, well, is it actually working? Is this actually the company I'm at? So I'm going to add here a label. And the label should display the name of the account I'm embedded at. And to do that, I could obviously put in some static text here. But what I want to do is, you see here on the left-hand side, there is this control model-driven form integration. And that's exactly the control I was talking about, which was added to the Canvas app because we used this button here. It added the model-driven form integration. And think about this model-driven form integration basically as your link to the model-driven app you're having. So we can access it here, model-driven form integration, dot, and dot item. That's basically the record I'm using at the moment, kind of like where it's embedded on. And you see, I have all the different fields which are on my account table. I have the same fields here and I can use them. For example, I can use the account name. Let's make it maybe a bit bolder. Okay, so really simple. We didn't do a lot here. I can show you a different thing because you can use all the different fields which are in there. So for example, we can also use the entity image, which are there. So I'm going to item again. And if I look for image, I have the image which is on there. By the way, that's what I really like about the Canvas editor. So you're wondering, okay, why is it showing the K&K company here? It will actually pick one of the accounts you have in your system and use that one. I haven't quite figured out which one it's using. It's always the same one, but it will take one of them. Okay, actually, I want to show you now, I mean, the app is not doing anything, but I want to show you what it looks like. So we're going to save the app. Chicago. Yes. So now it's going to save the app. And as soon as I save it, it will create the link back to my form so that the form knows, okay, that's the form I want to embed. So if I go back to my form editor of the model-driven form, you see it automatically added the app name and the app ID. That's what I need in order to display it. So I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to say save. And I also have to say publish. As soon as you work with model-driven apps or Canvas apps, always remember you have to save it and then you have to publish again in order to make your changes visible. The nice thing is, this was the last thing I had to do in the model-driven app. From now on, we can do all this stuff in the Canvas app editor. which is quite nice. So let's reload my model-driven app here. And if I now open accounts, and I will not open K&K because that was the one from an editor, I want to show you it's actually showing something different. So we see I have a new tab, activities here now. If I click on that, it will load my Canvas app. And you see here, Canvas app is loading, and it's actually using Microsoft and the icon from the account I'm on at the moment. So yay, it's working. Great stuff. So what will I do now? As I said, we don't need this tab anymore. Actually, I will close this one. We don't want to do anything on the model-driven form anymore, but I will edit it here in the Canvas app directly. Because what do I want to do? I want to add more stuff here. And what was our goal? We wanted to display the timeline, the activities here. For activities, you have to know that's a related table to the account table. So an activity is always or can be linked to an account. Let's actually look into a task here. And you see regarding, that's the field how it's linked to account here. So back to the Canvas app, we want to add them here. One way in Canvas apps, one easy way I recommend you is the gallery control. Gallery control is for displaying multiple data. And one thing I want to use here is the blank with the flexible heave. Why a flexible heave? You remember one of my complaints was about the standard timeline that if the text of the activity is long, I have to actually click on it to expand it. And I want to have it expanded by default. So I can use this flexible heave gallery here. Okay, and it was actually, it was already telling me kind of like, okay, what kind of data do you want to have in there? Let's make it a bit bigger here. We can also again put in a label. See that I'm not the most gifted designer. So the first thing at the gallery, what do we have to do? We have to tell the gallery what types of items. So what's the data which should be displayed in the gallery? And you see, I could directly link to tables here. I could display all the accounts in here. I could do other stuff. But I don't want to have some data in there. I want to have the data related to the account I'm embedded on. And that's actually what I can do up here. And remember, model-driven form integration. That's why I get the link to all the data I have at the account. And I have that for fields, but also if I look for activities, the great thing, and this is making it really easy to get the data, is that I also can access related data using item.name of the relationship. In this case, activities. So if I put in activities here, and I actually have, of course, to put in some control here to so that it can display something. Let's put in this item. In this case, this item is the activity. And I want to have the subject, the title of the activity in here. And you see, now we have the data from the activities and the activities from this account. Okay, let's actually put a bit more in here so that it makes a bit more sense. So we're going to have the title. We make that a bit bigger. And next to the title, I definitely also want to have the description in there. That was, remember, title is purchase license here, but I also want to have the description in there. So I'm going to add another label here, put it below this one. And this is actually this item.description. And with this one, I will toggle on auto heave here. Remember, the gallery was the one with the flexible heave. And I want to have that because I want to have it, depending on how much text is in here, I want to have a different heave of my control. Okay. Oh, by the way, sorry for the German demo data. As I said, I can't really control which account it's picking. I will show it in the demo with the English Microsoft. But for now, I think this will be fine. So we want to have a timeline. So obviously, we're going to need some timestamp in here. And for that, we can use, for example, the closed on date. Oh, that's called actual end. The actual end. And if we want to format this, we can do this with the text command. Time format. Short date. Okay. also probably what we want to do here, let's use the nicer navigation. We want to sort it. So now it's basically a random order, which all the activities are shown. But I can do a sort here. So I'm using the items. That's my item source. But I can also put around here, for example, sort by columns. That's the sort command in Power Apps. Where do we want to sort on? We want to sort on the actual end. And descending so that the most current one is on top. But, yes, so we have it on top here. Okay, let's actually make this one a bit bigger. Okay, so what I'm going to do now. So now I added the new stuff and I want to check it out. Is it actually working in a model-driven app as I thought it will be? So I'm going to save my Canvas app. And as I said, we don't have to go back to somewhere else. So I just save it, but remember to publish it. If you're just going to save it, changes will not be shown in the model-driven app. And now I go back to my model-driven app. You have to reload it. Sometimes the cache can be a problem. So sometimes you have to reload it twice or actually clear your cache. Normally, what it should look like is I open the activity again, and you see, yes, that's what I wanted to see. My changes are directly shown in the model-driven app. And actually, don't underestimate what that means. So you don't have to compile it, deploy it somewhere else, kind of like merge it together with your model-driven app anymore. You just have to do the changes in the Canvas app. And once you publish it, they are directly surfaced here in the model-driven app. I think that's a huge advantage when you go into development of this stuff. It's actually a lot quicker because you can see directly, is it working or not, what I wanted to create here. So now if I scroll down, obviously, when we do that for a customer, when you do it, you would spend more time on the design than I have. But basically, what did we do? I have now the same list as here. I removed a lot of clutter. Basically, like I don't want to have task complete my Mats Necker up here. I don't want to have all these actions, and I don't have to expand it. I have all that here in my Canvas app. So for displaying, you can actually display data in a lot of ways. Basically, it's your creativity, kind of like what's limiting you there. I want to show quickly before I move on to the next example, one more thing, because we can't just use it to get data from the system. We can also actually interact with the model-driven app. Let's go back to our Canvas app. So, and imagine, I said also one thing which was annoying me about this, it's really hard to open the task here. If I want to open the task, I have to click the small button here. Let's make that easier. So I will put in here a big icon. As I said, I'm a mouse type, so I need a big icon to click on it. And basically the icon, I want to change the icon so that let's copy this one. Yes, so what I'm using here is the isType. isType is a special function in Canvas app because activities can be of different types, can be of type task, phone call, appointment, and so on. In order for the Canvas app to know what a task is, I actually have to add it here. So I have to add task so that Canvas app gets the metadata for these entities. I will also interact with phone calls in a bit, so I'm also adding the phone call here. And yes, now you see, it's checking if this type is a task, then show the copy icon, otherwise show the phone icon. So now I can easily see which is a phone call, which is a task, first thing. But what I want to do is I want to actually open up the activity when I click on the icon. The click on the icon is the on select. So if I go here on select, it should do something. And actually what I want to do here is we're going to start again. So if it is a task, what do I want to do? I want to use the model-driven form integration. And you see down here, you actually have a few options here. You can't just access the data, but you also have a few functions you can use, like navigate to main form, navigate to view, quick create form, refresh form, save form, and so on. So for this one, I'm going to use the navigate to main form. The first thing I have to tell it, what's the entity name? I want to use the task because I was checking before, this is actually a task. The next thing I have to know, what's the main form called? In this case, it's also task. This is something you can check in the model-driven editor, what the form name is actually called. And it wants to know what's the ID. And the ID, because we're displaying the data here, I can easily go and say, I want to have the activity here. Okay, and then we're going to do the same for phone call. We'll actually copy this one. Don't make a mistake writing it. Awesome. Okay, so I added it. If I do the on select on the icon, if it's a task, it should open the main form for the task entity with this activity. If it's a phone call, it should open the main form for the phone call. Let's test this one out. So I'm going to save this one. I'm going to publish it again. And then I'm going to reload my model app, going to accounts, going to Microsoft, checking out my activities. And you see, yay, the icon is there. And if I click on the icon, it's actually loading the new form. I can also control, should it be in a new tab, should it be in the same tab. But this way I can easily navigate to the data I have there. And you saw there were more options. So this was just to open the form. Let's check with the phone call again. Yes, it's also opening the phone call here. Okay, awesome. So looking at the time, I also want to do 2 more demos. So I'm actually going to stop here. But I hope what you can see is that using this integration, you can build the Canvas app as you know, as you like to do it, integrate that in the model-driven app, interact with the data of the model-driven app, and also interact or call functions on the model-driven app to make it a wholesome flow where you can lead your users to the next step. Okay, what's the next thing we want to do? I want to show you really quickly the old stuff, I was calling it, how to add a Canvas app here, the one which Microsoft will actually make a lot easier soon. I just, for the reference, I want to show you how you can do it today. But I will just quickly show you how it's done, not creating it itself. For that, as I said, we're not going to use a web resource. Web resources can be of different types. Let's check this one here. The web resource doesn't want to load. Let's try that one again. Okay, let's check the other one. Okay, I think you're all the Microsoft Dynamics 365 community. If you have a solution, please let me know. Let's try if I can actually use them. Hope the demo, I was testing it before, it was working. So basically, what is I will explain to you what the web resource is doing. So basically, this web resource, it's HTML. It's the HTML where an iframe is on top. And the iframe will actually load the Canvas app. So it's a pretty simple construct. I wasn't doing, in my PowerPoint, I put in the link to a blog. Some guy smarter than me invented this or came up with this. And so basically in the web resource, you just have an iframe. You tell the iframe, this is the ID of the Canvas app I want to load. And that's you can use. Because why is the web resource helpful? When we go into our model-driven app and I go into the edit mode of the model-driven app, I can actually add web resources to my model-driven app. Then again, apparently at the moment, I can't do anything here. I should have done more for the demo gods. Let's quickly check if a sign out and sign in is helping. Sometimes that might be a problem. Let's sign again. At least this way you see it's all live and not pre-recorded. So I'm going to my playground again. We're going to our M365 Chicago demo. And I want to edit the model element. Here we go. Awesome. Let's try if I can also show you now the web resource. Okay, while that's loading, I will, here we are. Perfect. So this is what the web resource looks like. If I go to the text editor of the web resource, to the source, you see it's an HTML. There's a bit of styling in there. What's the important part is there's a bit of JavaScript here. What the JavaScript will do, we need the app name here, our Canvas app name. And then it will, you see down here, it will update the iframe. It will update the iframe URL with the name, it uses the name of the Canvas app to get the ID of the Canvas app. It's doing that here. And then it will build the URL for that Canvas app based on that ID. The nice thing is we only have to change this parameter. I also copy paste this all the time. And then I have a web resource. The web resource is an iframe which will load my Canvas app. In the web resource, I can actually add the web resource here to my model map. So let's put it here. By the way, the Canvas app, that's the one from the presentation I want to show you. So which is just a full screen, basically a different way of displaying all my companies I have here. The embedded company canvas, that is the name of the web resource I was showing you. Let's put in a name here, companies. Let's also use an image, so that's not looking that bad. I don't know if you know, you can also use emojis in here. So let's use a cool flame emoji. We're going to save it. We're going to publish it. So what did I do? I added one more item in the navigation. And if I open that one, it should open my Canvas app. Yes, we see on the left-hand side here, now I have the companies. And if I click on companies, you see now it's loading my Canvas app. And here in this Canvas app, it's a really simple one. I just use the account table and kind of like put it in a more, let's say, visual way to do this. I wanted to use this example as a statement because obviously this is, well, can be nice. It's especially if you have a bit more space here. I prepared one other app, and this is actually one which we're using in almost all our customer projects. I call it the app Power BI Report Selector. And remember at the beginning, I was promising that I was showing you how you can integrate Power BI with Model Room app and with Canvas apps. And actually, these Canvas apps are a great way of doing that because we can embed Power BI directly into Model Driven apps, but you have to do a bit of, well, let's say development. You have to change some XML files. What you can actually do in Canvas apps, though, is you have a Power BI control. So in Canvas apps, we have a Power BI control where you can select which reports do you want to show. And the nice thing is it has basically a data property. And the data property, you see it here, that's the link of the report you want to show in your Canvas app. And what you see here, what I did is basically I made it dynamically. So I don't want to, I can put in a fixed link here, but what I can also do is I can define the link as I can in Canvas app and say, well, this link is actually saved somewhere. And where is it saved? On the left-hand side here, I have a gallery again, and the gallery is a table called Power BI Reports. Let's check out that table. So I've created a table here, Power BI Report. And this is basically my setup table for my Power BI reports. It's a really simple table. It has a name column and it has a column called link. And in the link, actually the link to the Power BI report is saved. So when I go back to my Power App here, and if I select a different entity here or different data in my gallery, it will load the different Power BI dashboard. So this is how you can make a Canvas app with a Power BI integration really dynamically. You create an entity where you save your Power BI links, and then you can have some logic, kind of like which one do you want to load, or you can the user have select one of those, and then you can use the Power BI tile here and have the data dynamically added there, the URL, and it will show you a dynamic Power BI report. And then we can embed it the same way as we did with the company report. So I go back to my model-driven app. I'm going to add a new, don't want to send it. Okay. I'm going to select the web resource again. And the same as I did for the embed company canvas, I also created a web resource, which is embedding the app I was just showing you. I will call this one reports. And also here, I don't want to use an image. I prepared a small emoji for that, so that we have it a bit more colorful. We save this one, we publish it. Okay, then we can close it and we play it. And here, now I have also my reports here. And now the same works. It's loading up my Canvas app. And remember, all the stuff with the web resource, that will be, you don't have to do that forever because Microsoft is adding this concept of custom pages where you can directly embed your Canvas app here. But now I have the functionality that I have different Power BI reports. I can select it here. and I can actually have the user select the report he wants to have while still having the same Power BI functionality you know and love about it. And this is actually a way we set it up for a lot of customers, because now we have it also in a way that it can be completely moved by solutions. I think it's a really low-code approach of embedding it. And now I have model different apps, I have Canvas apps, and I have Power BI all in one app here, which can be used for customers and can actually help them a lot interact with the data you have in your app. Okay, I was rushing a bit at the end because I wanted to have a bit of time for Q&A at the end. So if you have any questions or any feedback, let me know. Also, I wanted to link you to, just a moment. Here we go. We will go to Q&A, but please fill out the feedback form. I would love to hear the feedback from you. The organizers would definitely know how we can make it better for you next time. I definitely want to know if you think this is useful, what I'm showing you. If you think, well, this is something I could use for stuff in my head. If you have some ideas, yeah, we can use the time. We have a few minutes left. So if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. Let me know. Otherwise, of course, also fill out the form here. I will actually put the link in the chat in a bit. And I will also put my contact data in the chat. So if you want to get in contact, please do. Thanks for me being here. We had a few technical difficulties, but I hope that I could show what I was wanted. I could show you what I was wanting to show. In the end, it worked. That's great. Yeah. So if you have any questions, please put them in chat. I will be here a few minutes.